So we looked at an interview just in the last segment where DeSantis got asked about Trump. Now we're going to look at an interview where Trump gets asked about DeSantis. And when I came across this clip, I honestly laughed this morning preparing for the show because, and I mentioned this for our full show viewers just in the last segment, but if you're watching this on YouTube as a segment, you didn't hear this yet. And this is kind of what I did this morning when I was preparing for the show. Pulling oneself out of the normalized nature of how we view American politics right now, where it's all bonkers, but because it is all the time, it becomes normal. And I kind of pulled myself out of that. And if you do that, you realize how bizarre all of this really is. So the clip I'm about to show you is Trump getting asked about his nicknames for DeSantis. This is a former president and current presidential candidate, most likely as of now, probably to be the nomination or be the nominee within one of the two major parties. And he's getting asked about his nickname for DeSantis. And he brings up a nickname he doesn't like that was reported on. He said he doesn't like Meatball Ron. That's not his favorite. Ron DeSanctimonious is his current one. And then the interviewer is pitching a different idea. How about you do Ron DeStablishment? And Trump says, yeah, I like that. So you can see important conversations going on right now with a presidential candidate.
We'll talk about the next election and your comments on ballot harvesting, but you made quite a bit of news on Truth Social and on your recent rallies with your new nickname for the governor of Florida, Ron DeSanctimonious. Mr. G, somebody else has come up with another nickname. What is the nickname you have for us, Jeff?
It's got to be Ron DeStablishment.
Mr. President, Ron DeStablishment. What do you think of that?
I have with me the 45th president of the United States and current presidential candidate. This is what the American people want to know. What do you think of this nickname?
That's not bad. I've heard worse. You know, they came out with lots of different names. Meatball, I didn't like that one too much, but they came out with a lot of different names, and that's not bad. I've heard of worse.
So in case you don't know where this meatball talk is coming from, there was reporting about how behind the scenes Trump is using these different nicknames, seems to be workshopping them, and one of them was Meatball Ron. So now he's saying they came up with that. I don't like it. But next moment from this interview, he proposes Republican governors in red states, or wherever the Republican governors, making all voting for the next election in one day. Eliminate all early voting, and he lists other things as well.
All Republican governors should absolutely take their states, and if they have the power to do it, which most of them do, where they have enough votes in the legislatures, should take their states, make it same-day voting, all paper ballots, voter ID.
So if you're going to add obstacles, such as making everyone vote on the same day. Imagine you have work all day that day or a family emergency or whatever it might be. Now you're not able to vote, not able to participate in the democratic process. Of course, if we can, why not have multiple days where people can exercise their right to vote? If you were to do that, limit that, then you would have to have a reason, a problem that you're solving with that. So if we had a huge problem with widespread voter fraud, then maybe you start adding layers, adding obstacles for the voting process, but we don't. We have very limited voter fraud that does not affect the outcome of elections just because of the size of our country. You're going to have a handful of instances of voter fraud that make no difference and are found and prosecuted. And so you're solving a problem that's just not there, but making it so much harder for people to exercise their right to vote completely needlessly. Then here's an attack he had for Ron DeSantis.
And we have such incredible spirit and love out there. You see that in these polls. You know, you have people, they start and everybody thinks they're wonderful. I mean, look, Ron, who I know well, he tried to cut Social Security. He wanted to bring the minimum age to 70 or above. He wanted to cut Medicare. You know, that's not, when people hear that, they're not going to be voting for him.
No.
And he's certainly not going to win in a general election. but you're not going to win the Republican primary, in my opinion, either.
So this is an attack that I'm really excited about seeing from Trump directed towards DeSantis over and over, because it'll cause the cutting of Medicare and Social Security to be associated with, because it is, but constantly brought up in the conversation of the Republican Party, and it'll be present within the Republican primary, and other Republicans will get over and over confronted with this and with a question about their stance on it because Trump's accusing another Republican of it. And that's something I want to see, because we want Republicans to be very afraid of cutting Medicare and Social Security. Then he claims incorrectly that a Chinese surveillance balloon never would have flown over during his administration.
And when it comes to China sending surveillance satellite balloons across America, across the whole swath of the nation, would you have waited, if you were in the White House, to shoot that balloon down after it had completed its mission?
Well, it wouldn't have happened if I was in the White House. Number one, they wouldn't have done it. They knew better.
So he's just wrong. Now, he wasn't aware of it, because it was the increased defenses against espionage by the Biden administration, specifically Chinese espionage, that allowed them to recognize this Chinese surveillance balloon program had been around all the way back into the Trump administration, and that 3 surveillance balloons had flown over during that period in time. And so this vibe they're trying to convey, Trump and others who are defenders of Trump, that the reason that this happened under Biden is because he's weak, and this never would have happened under Trump because he's so strong, is just completely mixed up or ignoring the facts of the situation. If you want to reach out to the show, okay, you have something to say, it's a question, it's a comment, it's a concern, you want to say, as we recently got someone messaging us, I'm 100% confident that Luke will have no family and friends when he takes his final breath. That's an option. You can send that to lukebeasleyshow.com/contact. If you go there, there's a contact form. You could say whatever you'd like. Or as someone else said, actually, that's too explicit for the kids watching. Some dark things that you've thought about me, you can put that there. Whatever you'd like. I will say, as a side note, I'm so excited about the growth of the show. So many incredible people out there that we interact with and we read comments from and all of that. But what comes with the growth is, for every, let's say, 1,000 amazing human beings who watch the show and have great things to say, there is one weirdo. So we've been having fun with those weirdos. But with all that being said, lukebeasleyshow.com/contact. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show hours before all the clips are uploaded to YouTube, plus get the full bonus show every single Saturday, you can do so by going to patreon.com/Luke Beasley. That's patreon.com/Luke Beasley. Link in the description.